So, news has just dropped that Thomas Tuchel has been sacked by Chelsea. Quite frankly, I don't think it's the right call. Sorry about the kind of impromptu nature of this video. I've had the start of my classes, so with college and such, so it's been a little difficult to hop back into YouTube rather. Right now, I have my new camera. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm currently holding the camera with a tripod grip or a monopod grip, but regardless of that, the tripod mount for the standing tripod is coming soon, and I'll be able to shoot more consistently, and it'll be more of a proper setup. But this felt right to make a video about, mostly due to the fact that for all my slating of Thomas Tuchel's man management and I guess his inability to fully be like a figurehead for Chelsea as a club, I think tactically in cup games, despite the loss to Zagreb last night, I think he is a talented manager. I think his tactics are relatively sound. They could be questionable at times, but it takes time, especially when you're losing players like Rudiger, Christensen, who were in your starting 11 last season, and you're trying to integrate 250 to 300 million pounds worth of players that you're signing specifically for Thomas Tuchel. So I think it's the wrong call. I think he should have been given at least a bit more time, a few more weeks to a month, and I think we would have started to see his influence really manifest at Chelsea. But Todd Boehly currently doesn't think that it's going to improve. So he just decided to sack him, despite backing him with a quarter to a third of $1 billion worth of signings, specifically tailored for him. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a bit much, I would say. And sorry for my appearance. I literally just woke up. I don't really have much time to sit here and go into the depths of it. But the current rumor is that effectively Graham Potter is set to have his £16 million release clause activated. Yes, Graham Potter plays a five at the back. Yes, he's a bit of a different manager. I think his man management is a bit better than Tuchel's. I think his tactics could work as well. They've proven to work against big sides in the Prem, so I think they should be able to work on an international stage. But the man, he doesn't have a lot of experience, and I think, quite frankly, that's not a particularly great outcome for him. It's a bit tense to realize that you're going to manage one of the biggest clubs in London, if not the biggest, one of the biggest clubs in the Prem, and one of the biggest clubs in Europe. And as Graham Potter, that's got to be a lot of pressure, even though you have the likes of Mark Cucurella on the side, who, admittedly he came from Brighton. I bet he's wishing that Billy Gilmore stayed at Chelsea at this point. Fofana, I think, will be fine in a system under Potter. Same with Khalidou Koulibaly. But ultimately, I just feel like this is a little harsh towards Tuchel. I think he could have turned it around if he was given some more time. But Todd Boehly clearly didn't. And, he is in charge because he owns he owns the club now, so that's all well and good, I suppose. But I'm pulling up my phone to read a quote from a Telegraph article that blew me away. So basically, this is a quote straight from the Telegraph regarding the decision to sack Thomas Tuchel. It says, they want a coach who they feel comfortable bouncing ideas off of and peppering with questions, even some that may seem tiresome to those with more football experience. how do I say this in the nicest way possible? Potter seems like a stand-up guy. He seems a little too nice for Chelsea, all things considered. And by that, I mean he's going to need some time to implement his tactics. And going from Thomas Tuchel, who's managed Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Chelsea now for years, gotten you guys to 4 European Cup finals. I think 4 European Cup finals. It might just be 4 Cup finals. But he's gotten you guys to quite a few finals. In Cups, he's won you a Champions League, making him a Chelsea legend in my eyes. And he has more experience than Potter. And I'm sorry, if Todd Boehly and co. feel comfortable or desire for there to be some sort of, man at Chelsea, some manager at Chelsea who's ready to answer their questions and they want to use as more of an input tool to the process of owning the club, as opposed to having a world-class manager like Tuchel, who's proven, who, maybe some of the players, and some of the staff have fallen out with him. Maybe there's like a loss of ambition there, but you don't just go and spend 250, 300 million on players that he specifically wants and then go target Pochettino, Zinedine Zidane, whose jersey I'm actually wearing right now. This is the Juve jersey, funnily enough. And Potter, who's seemingly the preeminent target and most likely candidate to replace Tuchel at the job now. You don't just target those guys after spending 300 million on players who are made for a different manager, who is just there, who had some players behind him, clearly. Like, players wouldn't have came to Chelsea had they not at least bought into Tuchel's philosophy. And despite my beratement of the philosophy, I think it's a little absurd because this morning, Wesley Fofana posted on his story, it was a picture of him and Tuchel at the Champions League game yesterday with Fofana with a bib on. And he probably didn't know, and probably a few other players didn't either. So ultimately, I think it's a bit of a harsh move. This feels very Abramovich-esque by Todd Boehly. But ultimately, I think we'll see. I don't love Graham Potter's... I didn't love Graham Potter's football before the start of the season. As the season's progressed, he's clearly shown strides of becoming a better tactical presence on the touchline, a better man manager, and getting the fans behind him. I think that's awesome, and that's well needed as a manager. But my problem is the fact that despite all of that, he's doing it at Brighton. Yes, he's doing it with, I guess, a lower tier of player, you could say. When you have Trossard on the left wing compared to Raheem Sterling, things are going to operate a little differently, naturally. But at the end of the day, these are still players that it took seasons and years for Graham Potter to properly implement these tactics. And you're going to kind of plunge him into a bit of a pit of fire, I think. I hope for his sake, well, not even for his sake, because even if he fails at Chelsea, I could see Potter getting a mid-table job somewhere else and being given the time down the line to actually implement these tactics properly in the Prem. But I think it's a bit harsh for Tuchel. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure for Potter. I wish him the best for his sake. And I think Todd Boehly is a little out of his depth here. I mean, he spent a lot of money to fix this squad in the image of Thomas Tuchel. Now Potter is going to have to try to alter that while also still being in a transitionary period and also getting his first Champions League games under his belt. He doesn't have any CL experience, so it's going to be a little tough. And ultimately, I think it's a bit of a bleak decision from Boehly, a bit of a brash decision from Boehly. But maybe it pays dividends. We shall see. Best of luck to Graham Potter. Thomas Tuchel, keep your head up, son. You'll get a job somewhere eventually. He deserves a top-tier Champions League job, and I fully expect him to go either to a Leipzig or a Premier League team sometime later this season or early next season. So as always, if you like the video, please share, subscribe, comment, do what you will, like it up, whatever you want to do. Sorry for the impromptu nature of this. It's been a little hectic with the arrival of the camera, the arrival of the rest of the equipment, and the start of my final semester of classes, actually. So, yeah, if you like the video, please share, do what you will. I'm Sideline Sato. Stay gold.